Pearson, DriveRight, 11th edition, Chapter 7, Lesson 7.4, Coping with Peer Pressure. People's decisions are influenced by many factors, including pressure from individuals or groups. These influences can create conflicts or uncertainty about decisions that affect a person's future. Many decisions are made based on positive peer pressure or negative peer pressure. Understanding peer influence and pressure. Peers greatly influence each other because people naturally want to belong to and be accepted by a group. Some of the strongest influence in the person's life are the attitudes and actions of friends and peers. Peer pressure and peer influence are factors that affect people's decisions and actions. Peer pressure is an external force that results from peers trying to influence you to do certain things or act a certain way. Peer influence is an internal force created out of a desire to be accepted. Positive peer pressure. When peers exert a pressure on you in a positive way, they want to help and encourage you to do your best and stay safe. Students of Figure 9 are demonstrating positive peer pressure by cheering for their friends. Talking a friend out of drinking alcoholic beverages at a party or refusing to ride with someone who has been drinking are examples of positive peer pressure. Exerting positive peer pressure on friends can also help strengthen self-esteem in young people because they can see themselves as leaders. Negative peer pressure. Negative peer pressure occurs when others who don't have your best interest in mind encourage you to do something that you believe is wrong or dangerous. For example, friends who tell you that you can drive safely after consuming alcohol are exerting negative peer pressure. Some people might also submit to negative peer influence, which occurs when a person feels pressure to use alcohol or other drugs just to fit in with a group. Refusing to do things that you believe are wrong and being able to say no to others are signs of responsible, mature behavior and positive peer influence. Peer refusal skills. Refusal skills are all about being able to say no. Knowing ahead of time why, when, and how to say no empowers you and others who hold similar beliefs not to be pressured and to say no. Sometimes it's easy to say no, and other times it's not so easy. The desire to be accepted is strong, but when the influence being exerted upon you involves what you believe to be a bad decision with short or long-term negative consequences, knowing different ways to say no empowers you to be a more responsible person. Different situations call for different ways to say no. Below are some examples of ways you can say no, especially when you are facing negative peer pressure. Use humor. A joke can change the tone of things if you feel the conversation is too serious. Humor also helps to change the direction or focus of the peer pressure being exerted upon you. Walk away. Say no and walk away, or just walk away from the person or people trying to engage you in behavior that is not in your best interest. Ask a question. Say no and then rephrase the suggestion as a question. For example, you might say, "No, why would I want to risk not being able to get my driver's license?" Repeat no. Keep saying no. It can buy you some time to consider another response. The more you say no, the easier it is to reaffirm your position. Avoid the situation. If you know your friends will be trying to influence you to do something you think is wrong or do not want to do, avoid situations where they have the chance to exert their pressure and influence. Ignore the pressure. Don't respond when asked to participate in hazardous behavior. Divert your attention or start a conversation with someone else. Prepare reasons. Have a reason for saying no and share that reason. You could say, "I signed a contract with my parents agreeing not to drink and I need to honor that agreement." Provide alternatives. Suggest an alternative activity to the irresponsible behavior being suggested. Use teamwork. Team up with others who feel the same way you do and who will support you when you say no. Sometimes having others around who will say the same thing makes saying no a little easier. Be firm. If all else fails, firmly say no thanks in such a way that the other person understands you will not be persuaded to do anything dangerous or against your values. It takes time, effort, and practice to fully develop different and effective refusal skills. The more you plan ahead and practice, the easier it becomes to apply refusal skills effectively. You want to be accepted by your peers, as we all do, but keep in mind that you have the right and the responsibility to yourself, your family, and loved ones to say no when faced with negative pressure to put yourself in danger. Making responsible decisions. Learning how to make responsible decisions can help you be more in control of your life. Following the 5 steps listed in Figure 11 will help you make responsible decisions. Each person must make his or her own decision whether or not to drink alcohol. The best decision is to choose not to drink. However, as a non-drinker, you must share the concern and care about people who drink and drive. Although people hesitate to interfere in other people's lives, most people wisely realize that they are being caring friends when they prevent friends from driving after drinking. Student programs. Underage drinking is a national problem with many causes and no simple solutions. Many schools have a student program that educates students on how to combat underage drinking. Communities also offer support and education programs to combat drinking. Peer education. Peer education is a process in which young people help other young people make decisions and determine goals. Peer programs may be known by many other names, including peer counseling, peer mentoring, or peer helpers. Many young people are more sensitive to the thoughts and opinions of their peers than to the thoughts and opinions of adults. Peer groups have properly trained peer leaders who can be more than a friend or a considerate listener. Peer leaders learn specific skills such as communication and problem solving in order to help others deal effectively with problems through activities that develop cooperation, trust, support, and confidence. Many schools have developed programs through the assistance of the other organizations to help influence people about the harmful effects of alcohol, as well as the problem of drinking and driving, including Mothers Against Drunk Driving, also known as MADD or MAD, Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists, or AAIM or AIM, and Students Against Destructive Decisions, SADD or SAD.